Now that Stranger Things is officially over, let's rank my top 10 favorite characters of Stranger Things. Let's go. I should preface by saying that there will be spoilers for all of the seasons of Stranger Things. So if you haven't finished the show, you shouldn't be watching this video. So let's get right into it. This is just my opinion. If I leave a character that you like off, it's okay. I love this show. I love pretty much most of these characters. So I have to narrow it down to 10. There's a lot of characters in Stranger Things. So a lot of people are going to be left off. Some quick honorable mentions: Robin, Eddie Munson, Murray. Right? 3 great characters, not on my list for my top 10. All deserving of being my top 10. There's other people that are also deserving, but those are the 3 that were knocking at the door that just felt worth mentioning to me. Coming in at number 10, we have Bob from Season 2. Yes, Bob has made my top 10 favorite characters of Stranger Things. I know. That is kind of surprising because the characters I just mentioned, plus others, have done a lot more than Bob, have been a lot more a part of the show. Because obviously, spoilers, Bob doesn't make it past Season 2. But he was so impactful in Season 2. He was such a likable guy. He's possibly the most emotional death in the show. It's between him and Eddie, right? At least off the top of my head. He was a great character, just a nice guy. He was a great boyfriend to Joyce. He tried to be there for Will, tried to be there for Jonathan, no questions asked. Even with all the craziness going on, when he found out that all this crazy stuff's going on, he didn't run, he didn't flee. He cared for Joyce. He was such a nice guy, and he did not deserve to get taken out by the Demodogs in the way that he did, but he risked it all to help people. That's who he was. And a guy like that deserves to be shouted out. He never turned bad. He was a great guy through and through. R.I.P. Bob, you made my top 10. Coming in at number 9, we have Lucas. Lucas is at my number 9 of the Stranger Things characters. Lucas is really good. He is sneaky funny. I didn't remember him being that funny the first time I watched the show. Rewatching it back in preparation for Season 5 and going through, he has so many great one-liners and background stuff. He's one of the original people from the party. He's really good. But the thing that really takes him to another level for me is his relationship with Max. I think Max and Lucas are arguably the best relationship in the franchise. Definitely in the conversation. Definitely probably my top 2 or 3. I'm not sure. Might make a Rega video on it. But Lucas is such a pivotal point in the later seasons because of his relationship with Max, and Max goes through a lot, especially in Season 4, and even in Season 5. So because of that, Lucas has a lot of emotional moments to do because of Max. So his relationship with Max is really what takes it to another level, and Lucas is the man, and he's my number 9. Coming in at number 8, we have 11, aka Elle, aka Jane. I know, for a lot of people, this is their number 1, or number 2, or number 3. I like Elle. She's in my top 10. Actually, she's in my top 8. She's a good character. She's a very, very important character from Season 1 all to Season 5. Finale, at least. They sidelined her most of Season 5. I think if they did a better job with her in Season 5, besides the finale she's great. But Season 5, she was sidelined most of it, and that didn't help her boost up a couple points for me. I think Elle is really good. I think her relationship with Mike is really good when we see scenes of them. The problem with them is that we don't see a lot, but when we do get it, it is great. And something I forgot to leave off in my Stranger Things finale review with the emotional scene between Mike and Elle and the sacrifice and them talking about it was something I noticed throughout the entire season, that they never kissed each other the entire season of Season 5. And I was like, what is that going on? I was wondering if it had anything to do with Millie Bobby Brown being married in real life, and I was wondering. And they finally kiss in the finale right before the big sacrifice. If you want my thoughts on Season 5 and the sacrifice and all the other things that go with that, check out my other video where I talk about it. But I don't want to get into all of that right now. But they finally kiss in that moment. It was, and the payoff was great because of that. Elle is a great character. She's so pivotal from the opening season. She's the hero. She's the superhero of the show. Goes through lots of setbacks. Her relationship with Mike is great. Her relationship with Max is great. And obviously her relationship with Hopper, being the father figure, is also great. And spoilers for season 5, I am of the camp, just like Mike, Max, Lucas, and Will, the party, and Dustin. I believe that Elle is alive because just like the party, I want to believe just like they do. They leave enough interpretation to believe that it's all in Mike's head and she actually did die. But if the party chooses to believe in it, I believe in it too. So I hope she had her happy ending, just like the others did. So either way, Elle's a hero, and she probably deserves to be higher, but there's better character moments, I think, for me with the other characters. So Elle's great. She's my number 8. Coming in at number 7, we have Nancy, aka Walk 'Em Down, Nancy Wheeler. Nancy is such a pivotal character throughout the entire show, obviously, but what I really like about her, and it doesn't really start until season 4, but they kind of make her a final girl. They kind of make her like an 80s final girl, a vintage final girl. She's the one that isn't afraid to go pedal to the metal, risk her life, and go after whoever is there. When she heard her mom was in trouble in season 5, she did not question it. She went right down after them, ready to walk them down, right? She obviously has a good shot, so she's always walking around with the shotgun. Even in the finale, they were calling her Walk 'Em Down Wheeler before the finale. And in the season 5 finale, fighting the Mind Flayer, they're like, who's going to be the one that's going to be left behind as bait? And no hesitation, she's like, I will. Walk straight up, starts shooting the giant monster of the Mind Flayer with no fear in her heart. Nancy's low-key underrated because of that. I think there's certain aspects of the beginning seasons where she can be kind of annoying or have some flaws, but I think Nancy at her peak is really, really good, and I think she gets pretty good by the end of it. I love her relationship with Steve much more than her relationship with Jonathan. I think if she was with Steve the whole time, I'd probably like her a lot more. Not a big Jonathan guy. Spoilers for the ranking, he's not going to be in my top 10. Sorry. Even though her initial relationship with Jonathan, where they met with Murray, that was cute or whatever, but most of her relationship with Jonathan wasn't a super fan of. But I don't know what people think of Nancy. I don't ever consider or hear people put her in their top 3 or 4, but she's pretty good, and I think that's what I like about her is that she feels like an 80s final girl by the end of it in those last couple seasons, and I dig it. Coming in at number 6, we have Mike. Mike is my number 6, Mike Wheeler. That might be a hot take. I hear lots of different opinions online. It seems like a lot of people hate Mike for some reason. Finn Wolfhard. The Escape Pod podcast, shout out you guys. Probably won't see this clip of this video. But they are big Mike defenders, which I like because Mike's underrated. I don't know why there's hate for Mike. I think he's pretty great in most of the seasons he's in. It's he gets sidelined sometimes, which is kind of can be frustrating because I think when you do put a spotlight on Mike Wheeler, he's great. He's kind of the spiritual leader of this group when they decide to let him be that. That's how he was in the first season, and it's hard to remember what happens with him in each season where he gets sidelined a little bit more, but he was a little annoying in his approach to how he treated Max in season 2, in my opinion. Being unfair to her when she's trying to join the group just because he missed Elle. And then I actually think Max was unfair to him in season 3 because he clearly cared for Elle. I love his love for Elle. He is such a genuine guy, and he cares about her so much, and that carries through and through the season 5 finale. Such an emotional ending for him, and he was the storyteller, and the story that he told for how each of the characters, all his friends in the party, leave off in life was beautiful, and his theory behind Elle being alive was beautiful. His conversation with Hopper about Hopper telling him not to go down the dark path like he did, and that Elle wouldn't want that for him, was beautiful. And most importantly, that final shot, it kind of brings it all back to show that Mike was deep down the leader of the party, where obviously it's his house, but he walks up those stairs and Holly runs past him with Derek and her friends, and he looks down in kind of nostalgic remembrance of him and his friends being the ones to go down there so excited, so young, so full of life, play Dungeons and Dragons, and he looks down in awe and says, it's their time now. And now it's time for him to move on, go to college, and all his friends to move on with their life. And that was a beautiful way to end the series, was Mike looking down, emotional, but kinda happy, like you're looking back in fondness, and oh man, that wrecked me. That was a beautiful shot. Mike Wheeler is the man. He's very underrated. If you hate on him, I don't get it. Heck, even pulling it back to the season 5, episode 4, where he was leading all the kids before Will got his powers and did his thing, and saying, eyes on me, and helping them through that. Mike's awesome. Stop hating. He's great. Coming in at number 5, we have Joyce. Joyce Byers is my number 5 character in Stranger Things. Joyce is so good in season 1 and in season 2. She gets really, really sidelined in season 5. There's a lot of flaws of season 5 with characters getting sidelined because we want to focus on Kali and Holly and Derek and all these other people. Whole other discussion. But Joyce does get her awesome moment in season 5 where she says to Vecna, you effed with my family, and gets the axe his head. So I'm glad she had that moment. And I also love that she has her happy ending with Hopper, which was beautiful. But those beginning seasons, Joyce really carries with her emotional weight and care for her son. Her performance, Winona Ryder, is excellent. Her relationship with Hopper is great. Her going out of her way to go to Russia to rescue him, right? She is not afraid either to do whatever she can to help her family and friends and the people she loves and cares about. Joyce is extremely underrated. There's some aspects where she can be annoying at times, right? Sometimes she can baby Will too much, and I'm glad that Will stood up to her in the end, kinda. But she's a protective mother. She's a really good character, and she's kind of the heart of season 1. And season 1 is a lot of people's favorite season, and without Joyce's performance and her care for Will and, doing the iconic lights with the letters, Stranger Things wouldn't be Stranger Things without her. So she's deserving of top 5 for me. Coming in at number 4, we have Max. Max Mayfield is my number 4 in Stranger Things. Max is great. I liked her a lot even from season 2. Sadie Sink is such a charismatic actress. Like, she just pops on screen. That's why I think she landed the role to be in the next Spider-Man movie, right? I think she is going to be a superstar. She's got that Emma Stone quality about her where she just shows up on screen and she just steals most of the scenes she is in. And I think she's going to have a great career, Sadie Sink. Her relationship with Mike Wheeler is very, very interesting. They have a back and forth love-hate relationship, beefing in season 2 when Mike's end was kind of, being the one that was rude to her. And then I think she was being rude to him, getting Elle to break up with him and do all these things. But she helped develop Elle as a character, right? Become a real person and human being, as I said earlier. But ultimately, her character arc in season 4, running up that hill, so iconic, so legendary. I think running up that hill gets a little bit overblown in season 5. It's not as good. But in season 4, it's peak. There's so many emotional moments. I think her relationship with Lucas is arguably the best in the franchise. It's definitely in the conversation. Maybe I'll make a ranking video on it, as I said prior. But she's great, man. She has so many of the emotional moments because of everything she had to go through with losing Billy and Vecna targeting her for the entire season, and her, like, Lucas crying, holding her in his arms. There's so many great moments, and her being a leader and trying to help Holly as Holly helped her, and coming back and having another emotional moment with Lucas when she finally makes it out of the trance and she's crying in his arms. And I like that they kind of mention that right up the hill is getting ridiculous. She's like, "Are you sick of it yet?" She says, "No." And Lucas says, "Well, I am," right? Or she says, "Are you?" And he nods his head, yes. That was hilarious. That was awesome. That was wholesome. And I'm glad her and Lucas had their happy ending. They deserve it. Max is great, and I'm so excited to see more of Sadie Sink in the future, especially in Spider-Man this summer. Okay, before we get into my top 3, make sure that you like this video, make sure to subscribe, and comment down below your top 10, or if you can't give me your 10, give me your top 5 or top 3 of the franchise. We all have different opinions. I would love to see yours. Before I get in my top 3, I also want to say I love my top 3 so much. They can easily interchange, especially my top 2. But I love all of them basically equally. My top 3, you're probably going to guess who they are. They can go either way. I love them all so much. Coming in at number 3, we have Dustin, aka Dusty Buns. Dusty Buns. Dustin is my number 3 in Stranger Things. And Dustin is the best kid character in the show, like the young original kid characters of the party. He is great. He is so charismatic. He is so funny. He definitely has some low moments. I think he's a big reason why a lot of issues happen in season 2, right? With Garth and not getting rid of him, and he ends up being a Demodog, right? That was a big problem. That was a big mess up on his end. But then he forms his relationship with Steve. But that is almost the heart and soul of this show. I could say a lot of things are the heart and soul of this show, but Dustin and Steve, if that wasn't a thing, oh man, I don't know if this show can last 5 seasons. That is one of the most best things of this show, especially season 2 and season 3. So dynamic, so awesome, so fun, so wholesome. Dustin has so many of the most legendary and iconic and funny and wholesome scenes in the entire series. Through the season 2 snowball dance with Nancy, great scene. Season 3 finale also, so he has season 2 finale, season 3 finale. He has the never-ending story. Maybe my favorite scene in the show. So funny, so hilarious, and it just works. He just works. He's the funniest, and he's possibly the smartest character in the show. His relationship with Eddie was really good, to a fault. That's the thing that probably holds him back even more, is that in season 5, he's not too good. I think season 5 ruins a lot of characters to some degree, at least in the first part of the season. They all get redeemed by the finale. He's great again in the finale. He has such an emotional conversation with Steve. It was in episode 6 of season 5, where Steve's about to go up the ladder, and Dustin pulls him back, and he cries, says, Don't do this. I don't want you to die like Eddie too. Like, he's like, not you. And he's crying. And you see the ladder go down, and he saves Steve's life, and they hug and embrace each other. That was beautiful. I'm glad that in the end, Steve and Dustin become friends again. Dustin's great. The show wouldn't be the same without him. It just wouldn't. Coming in at number 2, we have Steve the Hare Harrington. Steve, easily could be my number 1 in this show. I don't think I ever really disliked Steve. Even when they say you're supposed to hate him in season 1, I rewatched it. I don't think he's as bad as some people make him out to be. He makes a couple boneheaded decisions. His only really flaw is he says some really messed up stuff to Jonathan in that first season out of anger because he thought Nancy cheated on him and whatever. Doesn't make it right. Definitely messed up. But he apologized for it immediately, and he was someone that always tried to own up to his mistakes right away, really. And he just is so charismatic, so likable. Joe Carey was so cool in this show, and he's the babysitter. His relationship with Dustin is so wholesome, so awesome, especially when they were younger, and Dustin's looking up to him, trying to copy his hair, and he's trying to be the cool guy, but he ends up kind of just becoming friends with all the nerdy little kids. His relationship with Robin is really, really great. Really fun relationship, especially in season 3. 2 and 3, they're so fun. Season 4, he kind of goes back to being the man again and having a little thing with Nancy, which was fun. I didn't like his beef with Dustin in season 5, as I said earlier, but they figured it out in the end. By the end of this show, and he was the one everyone was worried about dying. Everyone thought they were going to kill him because he's that good, and they thought that would be something that would be so impactful that everyone would be pissed about. And they gave you a lot of scary moments where he could have, but I love that him and Jonathan get redeemed by Jonathan saving his life. And Steve's just the man. He's the man. Nancy, what are you doing? You're blowing it. He's the perfect guy. And you're screwing it all up. Steve deserves better, unless Nancy figures it out. Glad Steve mainly had his happy ending. I think deep down he still wants Nancy. But maybe it'll work out in the future. Who knows? I mean, Nancy she quit school, I think it was, and she's working at a job, and she seems like she's trying to figure stuff out. Steve's dating around. Can't find the right one. So, Steve's great. So many good moments with Steve. He's just the guy. He's that guy. The best Steve and Dustin moment, also besides him sending him to the ball, well, maybe it's not the best. I don't know. There's a lot of great Steve and Dustin moments, but one worth mentioning that I didn't mention on Dustin's end is just setting the tone early when Dustin visits Steve at Scoops Ahoy, and this is before Robin knows him and all this stuff. She just goes, "Is he here?" He's like, "Who here?" And Steve comes out and says, "Henderson! Henderson!" And then they're like, high-five each other in this whole thing, and Robin makes the funny joke and says, "How many kids are you friends with?" or something like that. So funny. So funny, and it sets the tone very early of who Steve is and his relationship with Dustin being his best friend. Really awesome. The more I think about Dustin and Steve, it's making me realize I left off stuff with Dustin and Steve, but I'm going to talk about Dustin in the Steve segment where Dustin gives the iconic speech at the very end of the show, in the finale, honoring Eddie, honoring everyone else, and Steve just there to support him all the way through. You can tell how much he loves Dustin so much. And I love that Dustin, the same girl that dissed him in season 2 finale at the dance, laughed in his face, is the one that is hitting on him later. I talk about that a lot in my season 5 finale ranking video. Or my season 5 review. If you want to hear more about season 5, go check that out. I go more in depth of that stuff. But Dustin and Steve, they're yin and yang. They're peanut butter and jelly. They're the show. But coming in at number 1, we have Hopper. Hopper is the number 1 character in the show for me. He has a lot more flaws at times than Steve does. I can almost put Steve above Hopper because there's a couple times I don't like Hopper. Like, I think in the beginning parts of season 3 he's a little annoying. I think he ruins Mike and Elle's relationship to some degree. But in those first couple seasons, man, the first 2, he's just a guy who's been through it, doesn't care, and he's struggling, but puts all his past aside to help find this missing child, to help an old friend in Joyce, to help a struggling child in Elle in season 2, becoming her father, right? When he doesn't really need to do that. He's just a caring heartbeat of this show. He's the muscle, too. He's the only one with any sort of military or fighting experience. All these kids are doing such a great job and doing all this stuff, but he's the one that has to fight and shoot and do things. He gets captured in Russia. It has so many great stuff in that season. He has the letter to Elle in the finale of season 3, which is one of the heartbeats of the show, one of the most beautiful written things in the entire show, and it makes you tear up. His letter to Elle when you think that Hopper died, so good. His relationship with Elle is great. He has a rocky road with Mike throughout most of the show, but he is the one that kind of brings Mike back to earth because he can see and know and tell that Mike cared for his daughter in Elle so much that he relates all his past trauma and gives wisdom to Mike to not go down that same dark path as he did, and telling Mike, Elle wouldn't want you to go down this path either. Saving Mike from going down that path, proposing to Joyce in the end, and him finally getting the happy ending that he deserves. He deserves it. He's been through so much, and he's fought and clawed his way to help so many people in Hawkins around him, and even helped save people in Russia when they were captured and had to fight the Demogorgon. Hopper's the man. He has flaws. He's a broken character, but he's a character who is just genuinely a good person who cares for the people around him. And he's like the father of the show. He really is. You know, Ted, Mike's dad, he's not as good of a dad. Hopper is, even though he's the father of Elle, right? He's almost like the father of all the kids, looking out for all of them. And I could easily put Steve above him, but when you think about the wholesome moments of Hopper, he's definitely the rock and anchor of everyone around them, being the chief of police, being that male, strong, adult figure, because most of these guys are kids and teenagers. He is the man figure that these guys can look up to and depend upon, and he does it in just a classy way. Not all the time. He's not perfect. He's flawed, but very, very human. And Hopper's the man. Hopper's the man. That's clearly my top three. There's a separation between my top three and everyone else. Dustin, Steve, and Hopper. You can flip them however you like it. Depends on the mood, depends on the episode. But they're clearly the three best for me. Everyone else is a giant debate that you can mix up any way you like. So that's my ranking of the top 10 characters in Stranger Things. Comment down below your top 10, your top 5, your top 3, whatever you want to do. So let's discuss our love for the show together. If I left someone off that you love, I'm sorry. A lot of characters in the show. Doesn't mean I hate the character. There's a lot of characters that we all like and love, but I think I mentioned 10 pretty good ones. I think most of you guys will have at least 6 or 7 different characters of my top 10 in your top 10. I was trying to be funny, make a dumb joke there, but seriously, I assume you have at least half of the characters I have in my top 10, so I don't think it's too crazy. I do think my top 3 should be in a lot of people's top 3. I'm assuming you at least have 2 or 3 of my 3 in your top 3. I don't know. Let's see. Comment down below, and we'll find out. See you guys next time. Subscribe, and I'm out.